It just gives me stress and anxiety. I didn't avoid the spoilers on the fucking internet. I'm scared for your emotional mental well-being. You turn into an alcoholic, Hamish. Hello, as you can see, as you've clicked on the video, you know exactly what this is. We are going to be reading, I'm going to be reading Sunrise on the Reaping, and I'm going to bring you along with me on this journey. I wasn't sure I was actually going to do a reading blog for this book because I thought, I'll probably be oversaturated, a lot of people are going to do it, and also I wasn't sure whether I would feel a really strong desire to read it straight away. I am the kind of person that gets it and then it sits on my shelf for years, so I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to want to read it. And then literally today, I was part of an early opening to celebrate the release of the book, and seeing the excitement and the hype that other readers had towards this book, literally I was like, I need to go home and I need to read it, and I need to take you with me, and we need to discuss it, and we need to be through this together. But yes, I'm incredibly excited to read it. That is beautiful. Look at that. I also got the exclusive edition. That cover, this is in all the editions. The exclusive edition has a Q&A. Because I love understanding the mind of my favourite books more. But yes, so you're going to come along with me as I read this, and hopefully I love it. Hopefully if you're reading this as well, you love it and we can discuss it. Oh, I'm nervous. Oh, we've got a couple of quotes already. We've got a George Orwell quote, a William Blake quote, a David Hume quote, two David Hume quotes. I do think that this book is a lot to do with censorship. I think a lot of people have been saying that. And I see that with the George Orwell one. Yeah, it's all to do with propaganda and censorship, this book, which is something that I think is very, very interesting in today's current climate, to be having a book that is all about censorship and propaganda. I am very intrigued to see where this book goes. We are going to dive in this together. This is so incredibly exciting. What an honour to be able to be in a time where you are able to enjoy a book and be able to connect with people so quickly about the books you love and enjoy. I'm also very much reading this quickly. I know I said it's all about the hype of reading, but I'm also very scared about spoilers. Very scared. So best thing to do, just read it. Straight off the bat, it's set knowingly 40 years after Lucy Gray's book, right? And it's set 24 years before Katniss and Peter first go into the Hunger Games. And District 12 is still, it is still struggling. Snow became president and did fuck all to help the District 12. Which is obviously not surprising, but you know, reading about, I'm only like literally 2 pages in, but reading about how Haymitch and his family are struggling, District 12 could not catch a break at all. I'm already struggling with the idea of keeping this spoiler free, because there's so much I want to discuss and it's only 3 pages in. So one thing that I think isn't really spoiler because it's 3 pages in is that at this point they already know that the Hunger Games is going to be double the tributes. This is something that is established already in the other books, so it's not really much of a spoiler. So a lot of people have had time to process this information, which is quite interesting. Okay, this is 5 pages in, so I feel like it's okay to say. But I didn't know, and I don't know whether this is... Oh, I just sat on the cover. Wait, did I just... Can you see that? I just fucked up. Oh, no. There's me saying I'll fucking take it off. Oh, what a fucking idiot. Jesus. What I was going to say was, and I don't know whether this was established earlier, but Lenore Dove, who is Haymitch's girlfriend at the beginning of the book, which that is already established in the original series, so that's not a spoiler, but she is Covey. This is 5 pages in, so cut me some slack, it's 5 pages in, but she is Covey, and I didn't know that. Obviously, we wouldn't know that in the original trilogy, because Lucy Gray's story, hadn't come out yet, but to know that Haymitch's girlfriend is Covey... My God, I can't believe we're 5 pages in. I saw a TikTok the other day and hopefully I may be able to find it, but it was something along the lines of being excited to read the book and then having to mentally and emotionally process the fucking lore drop that is chapter 1, and I can completely 100% support that statement. I have resorted to writing notes down in my Kindle because there are so many things in this book that I just need to make a note of, that also I need to realise later, is it spoiler, is it not? also because I'm going to do a spoiler review at the end of this video, I need to make all the notes of the important key points that I liked. It is a very confusing thing, so I'm just writing everything down. Okay, so for context, page 8. I was not prepared because I didn't know that Lenore was Covey. I was not prepared for there to be more songs, which is now making me think, who the hell are they going to cast as Lenore in the movie? Because Rachel Zegler as Lucy Gray Baird was incredible. We need someone on that level for Lenore Dove because we've got songs again. God, I'm getting excited for the movie already. I have a very strong theory going now that Snow is going to pick up on the fact that Haymitch is connected to the Covey, and that's why Haymitch is going to go through the shit that he goes through. Because we know that Haymitch doesn't have a great time when he leaves the games. That's not a spoiler. It is spoken about in the books. It's spoken about in the movies. You don't turn into a raging alcoholic if you've had a great time once you leave the games. But I'm now thinking this could potentially be because of his connection to the Covey is why Snow could potentially be super harsh to him, or why Haymitch struggles as much as he does during and after the games. I've barely scratched the surface. I'm 20 pages in and we are now getting to the reaping. We are now at the reaping and I feel sick every time I read the reaping, no matter what book, I feel sick. I felt less sick when it was Ballad because we were reading it from Snow's point of view, but still, it just gives me stress and anxiety. Even though we know what happens in this book, still not great. Not a great feeling. Suzanne Collins, you're sick and twisted, babe. With all the love and the respect in the world, you're sick and twisted. This reaping is the worst reaping in the entire series. Sick and twisted. The parallels between Haymitch and Katniss are too uncanny. Too uncanny. Like, we get a scene, this is not a spoiler, obviously we all know Haymitch is reaped in the games, and it's just as Haymitch is looking at his family, it's his mum, it's his little brother, and he's like, I'm all that they have. Who else is going to look after them? Who's going to support them? He doesn't have a dad. It's literally like Katniss. It's like Katniss is Haymitch 2.0. Do you know what I mean? It is emotional. I'm feeling it as I'm reading it. Okay. So, it was like a little bit sad. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. It's just tough. That is... I did expect, to be honest, the reaping to... and the bit before the reaping to last longer, weirdly, like it did in Ballad, because we're now on to what? Chapter 3, and Haymitch is already on his way to the capital, which is a little bit shocking. I was expecting it to last a little bit longer, like District 12 exploration, which we haven't got. So we'll see. Maybe it's going to be I guess it's going to be a super long Hunger Games, because there's 48 of them. Do you remember that time I said to you that I was going to read Sunrise on the Reaping early so I could avoid the spoilers on the internet? No! I didn't avoid the spoilers on the fucking internet. I had muted all the words. I muted Haymitch Abernathy, Haymitch, Sunrise on the Reaping, OSTR, Hunger Games, THG, Snow, Lenore Dove. I had muted so much and I was swiping away. And if you post fucking spoilers on something, oh my god, this lighting, but without tagging the spoiler, I hope you rot in hell. There is a special place in hell that I have personally reserved for you. I can't even hint to what the spoiler is because it's that juicy of a spoiler. I hate this person. And I'm going to go out at midnight and create a manifestation circle so strong that they will suffer, and their children will suffer, and their children's children will suffer. Okay? How dare you? Now, there is a case although this may not be true, but the comments were muted on that TikTok video. So I have a feeling it's true, and I have a lot of people were cursing them in the comments, being like, how dare you? Okay. The only thing I can take from this, which is what I try to do when I see spoilers, is I try to flip it and go, how is this going to be interesting to the story? Now that I know that this is happening, I'm hoping that they're wrong and they're just pulling a prank, but I don't think they are. But now that I know this thing is happening, how can I turn that into something interesting for me to lead up to? So when it eventually happens, I'm not like, I knew this was happening. I can be like, oh, okay, so this is how Suzanne introduced this. This is how Suzanne wrote this and why. But it's a confusing thing. It's definitely a spoiler that happens later in the book. And it's confusing with how Suzanne is going to pull this off. So I'm intrigued from that to think, okay, Suzanne, how are you going to do this? That being said, I fucking hate it. And I hope they suffer. I haven't even read it yet. This day 2 has been out for 2 days. 2 days and you're already posting spoilers? Fuck you, India. You should have put the phone down. You should have put the phone down. Anyway, I hate everything and everyone right now. Fuck. 8:10. And I'm about to lock into about an hour and a half's worth of reading of Sunrise on the Reaping after the fucking abysmal spoiler that I saw last night. I'm so annoyed. Actually, I think, I've already said it before. Suffer and all that, so I've just got to crack it. So where I'm at in the book, I'm 45 pages in, and it's just after the Reaping, and they're on the train to the capital. So I'm really not that far in, which is what makes it... I don't know what's worse. Being spoiled when you've only just started it, or being spoiled when you're closer to the spoiler. I think I would be even more devastated if I got spoiled and I was like 50 pages away from reading the spoiler. But I know that I'm far away because I've only read 45 pages. But we need to lock in, crack on. I'm working today, but I'm doing a late evening because I'm attending and selling books at an event. But there is a lot of downtime between, like, when the event's actually going on. That's the perfect time to read this. My colleague and friend Libby is coming with me. We are doing the event together. She is also reading Sunrise on the Reaping, so we are going to read it together. She is also 100%, like, I texted her and I was like, you need to avoid the internet. I do want to add that I really find interesting how Suzanne Collins talks about how everything, and I know specifically what this book is about. This book is about propaganda and it's about censorship, but I find it so interesting in every book that she writes how everything is documented, how editing is key, and how you're playing the game even from the minute you're reaped. Like, you're not playing the game once you're in the actual Hunger Games. The minute you're reaped and the minute your name is out there and broadcast to the country, you are playing the Hunger Games. And it is such an interesting thing to read. And I think Suzanne Collins is such a smart lady. And I think a lot of people need to be sitting with this book and taking everything that she says and thinking critically. There are so many reflections to modern day in this book. And I think it can very easily be swept under the rug as, oh, this is like a sci-fi dystopian. This is a dystopian book. Isn't this crazy? This doesn't happen. And it's like, no, it has, and it will be, and it will do.
Hello.
Hello, you okay?
I'm not a good one.
What's your hand?
Which one?
This one. It's for the video. That's how much I've read so far.
I didn't realize you were recording.
Yeah, it's fine. Love you loads. Bye bye. No, love you? Thank you. I'm just coming here to say that Maisie Donna is that bitch. And I had seen a couple of tweets that said she's quite witty and has got quite a sharp tongue. And I have witnessed that firsthand. It's going to be an entertaining book based on her dialogue alone. Like, she's on it. I am very interested in Maisie Donna. I really hope someone out there brings out a document of all the connections. First of all, the connections between all the books, but all like the little Easter eggs that come in this book. Because this is not a spoiler, I promise you. This is not a spoiler, I promise you. But somebody basically says, back in the old day, we would shovel the districts in a cattle car because they are being shown to their rooms. And yeah, this person says, well, back in the old days, you used to get shoved in a cattle car, which makes me think of Ballad. And I just want someone to write a document of all those little connections. There are also some bigger connections that obviously I won't tell you because we're keeping this spoiler free. But I do want, like, yeah, a document of all the little Easter eggs that are in this book that reference the other books, only because I'm also probably super dumb and have missed a bunch. But I want that document. I'm about to see President Snow for the first time in this iteration of the book. Having read Ballad from a young, hopeful Snow point of view, and now this is 40 years later. Ooh. Also, for those who have read the book, I have just read the parade scene. And for those of you who read the book, you'll know what scene I'm talking about. But we are about to meet President Snow. I'm like nervous. Susanna's written a great character in the fact that I'm nervous for two fictional characters to meet. My favourite thing about The Hunger Games is the hilarious names that Suzanne Collins gives these characters. Are you ready for this? So you'll have some normal names, like you'll have one of the girls in District 2 is called Camilla. You have, I'm now trying to find them. You've got Miles in District 6. There actually aren't that many that are normal. You've got Ryan and Clayton in District 9. You've got Wyatt in District 12. But then what's hilarious is you'll have little sprinklings of normal names, and then you'll have things like Panache, who's the District 1 boy. You'll have Ampert, Atred, Highshell, Heartwood, Ringina, Wefton, Ripman. I just think it's hilarious. I just think it's really, really funny. I'm about to give you a theory that is neither confirmed nor denied, and I will not confirm nor deny it after I give you this theory, in the honour of being spoiler free. But at this point, it has been established that past victors will mentor the upcoming tributes from their district, like they did with what Haymitch did with Katniss and Peter. So we know this, right? But District 12, they make like a vague reference to Lucy, but they're like, there's no one in 12 to mentor. There's no one in 12 to mentor. So they are being given somebody from a victor from another district. And my theory right now, based on what I've seen on Twitter, which I didn't really take into consideration at all, I didn't really think about it. A lot of people have been talking about Mags. So I think her name's Mags. The one that died in Catching Fire, she was partnered with Finnick. She sacrificed herself to protect Annie. I think, and she won the Hunger Games right after Lucy Gray. She won the Hunger Games that was like Snow's first games as a game maker. I think it's Mags that's the mentor, just because I've seen a lot more of a focus randomly on Mags on Twitter, which I just didn't take into consideration. And then as I was reading the book, suddenly I was like, maybe it's Mags. So that's my theory. I can either confirm or deny it, and I won't. We will never know because this is spoiler free. If you want that confirmed, maybe I'll remember to mention it in my spoiler review at the end of this video. The performance has started, and we're locking in. This is how much I've read. I don't think you can even tell.
This is how much I've read.
Yeah, so you're...
I'm 20 pages off of halfway through. I am at... I think they're about to do the interviews. So, still pre-games, which is... Sorry, I'm just...
No, go, please go.
Can you tell 16-year-old me is thriving? For a Hunger Games book, to be halfway through and to not have had the Hunger Games yet, and the second quarter quell with double the amount of contestants,
that's a lot to fit into a small
That's
amount.
a lot to fit in, and the post-game
because
fallout that's inevitably going to happen.
My theory was that it was going to be like Ballad, where you would get a good chunk of post-game.
Even, like, the Hunger Games itself, there's a lot that happens post-game.
Is there?
Yeah, in the first one.
Oh my
Because
God,
Peter
I read
uses
that
a
much.
flag and everything.
Which
There is
they
like a lot
scrapped
that
from the
happens.
movies.
Disability rap.
Disability representation, what the fuck is it? Anyway, yes. So that's where we're at.
And we've been making TikToks.
Oh yeah, so we're utilising our time correctly. I found a plot hole. I found a plot. I'm joking, you can just say, oh, that was introduced later.
Yeah, I can't fully remember. I think I also had the same thought.
I don't want to Google it because I want to avoid spoilers, but I'm going to Google that later. I'm going to write that down.
This is why I need my non-fiction encyclopedia.
This is why we need the
Refer back
non-fiction
to it and go,
encyclopedia.
this is the year they introduced.
I'm on page 156, and I'm just at the bit in the book where they do their like individual performance thing. So in the original Hunger Games one, it's the one where Katniss shoots the arrow into the apple of the pig that the Capitol members are eating. It's that bit. So that's where I'm currently at. Nearly halfway through, and we're nowhere near getting into the Hunger Games though. So we shall see. There is some very interesting stuff going on that I can't mention. But this story is a lot more detailed and goes in deeper into things that I can't say. So, I'm over halfway through Sunrise on the Reaping now. We are at this point, I'm specifically on page 212. And he has just, like, the Hunger Games have now started. So we're about to lock in. And I expect to be crying. I've got no makeup on, which is going to be really, really good because I do expect to cry. I've got about 2 hours now to lock in and read as much as I can before Harry and I go out. We're going to go watch a movie, things like that. Libby and I are working together on another event tomorrow, and she has finished the book. So she was like, you need to finish it so we can discuss it. So I'm hoping to get a really good chunk of it done and then maybe read the last couple of chapters tomorrow or just stay up late tonight after the movie and read it, see how I feel. But yes, hilariously, really quickly, I literally have just read like one page. What I think is really interesting is the last Hunger Games book I read was last year, where it was an actual point of view of the Hunger Games. So I read March 2024. February and March 2024 was, I think it was February actually. February and March 2024. I read The Hunger Games, which obviously is Katniss's experience of the 74th Hunger Games from her point of view. Then it might have been November or January. I think it was January this year. God, now I've got to double check. Goodreads. Just checking. Also, first of all, Lakey, I hate the new challenge format on Goodreads, just saying. No, yeah, so I read Mockingjay January of this year, which didn't have any discussion of any Hunger Games. Yes, I know they did the capital itself kind of became a Hunger Games, but it wasn't actually a Hunger Games. And then Ballad had the 10th Hunger Games from Snow's point of view. So here we go, actually experiencing a Hunger Games again from Haymitch's point of view, when the last time I read Hunger Games was like 4 or 5 months ago. It's a weird feeling to be back into that kind of experience of the multiple killings and things like that, especially because this book has double the tributes. I think I've already said this, but it's funny reading this when you know that Haymitch survives his Hunger Games. So when stuff happens, or like he trips over or hurts himself or anything like that, you do think to yourself, you're going to be fine. You know? So that is one solace when things happen and crazy things are happening and you're like, well, we know you're going to be okay. Physically, not emotionally or mentally. I'm scared for your emotional and mental well-being. You turn into an alcoholic, Haymitch. But physically, you're going to be fine. Without giving away any spoilers, I did know a little bit about Haymitch's arena from the books and the movies and things like that. But this is a fucking intense arena. I would not survive a Hunger Games, first and foremost. I would be in the original Bloodbath. I would die straight up at the very beginning. I do not see myself surviving past that, let alone winning. But I would also definitely not survive this arena at all. Something I just wanted to add, which is I won't show you these notes, but I have about 3 pages worth of notes that I've written down for later. But one of the things that I think isn't a spoiler, so I'm going to say it, is the conversation surrounding perception and narrative. And Haymitch is aware that he is entering the Hunger Games, the spectacle that is the Hunger Games. So he is aware of everything that he does and how that will be viewed not only by people like the game makers, the peacemakers and Snow, but also the crowds, is such an interesting thing, because in the original trilogy, Katniss was just trying to survive. She didn't think of anything really about it, and it wasn't really, ironically, with Haymitch being the one to be like, you know, give the people what they want. It makes sense because Haymitch, even in his games, is very aware of what, like Peter is very aware of that this is a TV show for the capital, and it's a spectacular, it's an entertainment thing for the capital, and watching him process and think that way through the course of this actual Hunger Games is very, very interesting. So if you want to know how I'm doing really well. I'm doing great. I'm doing amazing. It's not sad at all. I'm really like holding through this. It's just like a really fun book. I'm not emotionally attached to any single character whatsoever. Oh my god, does that mean... I think my spoiler was wrong. I need to go back. I just think that the spoiler I got really arsey about was actually a lie. This is a great fucking day. Hold on. I need to go back and confirm. The spoiler that I thought I'd been spoiled. Let me just read a couple of pages more. But I think the spoiler that I thought I saw, which I hoped was fake, is fake. Or it takes on a whole different tone. But either way, I think the spoiler that I saw was fake. Fuck yes! I am now on chapter 23, which is page 304, which is pretty much, we're getting to the end of the Hunger Games now, and it's focusing on, only because we've got to a specific point that I recognise from being discussed from the books when they discussed Haymitch's time in the Hunger Games, so I know we're getting close to the end. I am about to head off for dinner with Harry to go watch a movie, so I don't really want to read too further ahead in case when it starts getting good and juicy and a bit intense, and then no, I've got to put the book down. So we're stopping there for the moment. I will probably finish this then Sunday morning, wake up early to finish it, get my cry out. But yeah, good. I can't really say anything else at the moment because obvious reasons. But yeah. Hello, and we're on the last day of reading Sunrise on the Reaping. So this is taking me 5 days, because I got it on the, came out on the Tuesday. So I read it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh no, day 6. Day 6 of reading Sunrise on the Reaping. Got about 70 pages. Let me see. 70-ish pages left. I also got the one with the Q&A, so I'm looking forward to reading that. No spoilers, obviously, but for those who know Haymitch's story, gone through the hedge, gone through the berry hedge, and seen what's on the other side, and that is all I'll say. But when I saw that bit, I knew I was going out, obviously, for dinner yesterday to watch Mickey 17, which was very good, okay? Ignore all the bad reviews, I fucking loved it. But I knew what was coming up, and I knew where we were. I was like, okay, we're getting to that point where we're going to up the ante. I don't want to read any more, because then I'm going to want to not want to put the book down, and not want to go out, and not want to do anything, because I just wanted to finish it. So I felt like it was a really good place to just, But that is page 300 and, beginning of chapter 23, 304 pages. That's where I'm at. So I'm going to lock in. I've got about 2 hours and 20 minutes to lock in. And yeah, I am excited to finish this. It's always a weird thing because I've really enjoyed the process of reading this. Weirdly, and I want to say this, reading vlogs have definitely made me engage more with what I'm reading. engaging and thinking critically when I read. But when you know you have to focus on every single word because it might be important for something to come across and say on camera, has made me like focus more than I think I've ever done on a book, especially for something like this, because I did my weekend reading vlog, which was great, but this is like a specific one. So, but yeah, we're gonna look in it. I'm scared. Even though I know how it ends, I'm scared. I literally cannot say anything right now because I've said this will be a spoiler-free vlog. I've got this much left. I'm feeling sick. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I'm feeling sick. It's 8:19. I'm feeling sick. It's weird because I know what's coming up because I've read the other books, not changing the awful nauseous feeling. So I finished it, and you know, it was a book that I read. It was fine.
And you can't talk about it.
And I can't talk about it because Harry's there, and this is a spoiler-free review. I don't know what you want from me. It was a book that I read. I didn't think it was going to get me at the end. I thought maybe it wouldn't, and yet here we are. And I can't even say anything. I have to do my spoiler review when Harry is here. But, Dad! It's just, what an ending. Hello and welcome back. And we did it! I read it. I read Sunrise on the Reaping. I've completed the Hunger Games series. What a journey it was. What an absolute journey. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. It probably won't be the most cohesive spoiler-free review. I have not written a script. This is coming straight off of my head. I'm going to split it into the things that I loved and the things that I maybe didn't love as much, because there are a couple of things that I think could have been better. But this is going to be all of the things that I wish I'd said during the reading vlog that I didn't get time to read. Let's get in. I did write about 4 pages worth of notes in the end. So, starting off with the things that I liked. First of all, I want to say Haymitch as a character was incredible. Every single District 12 victor has been absolutely incredible. Being able to be in Haymitch's mind and seeing Haymitch and Haymitch before the events of the Hunger Games, the original book, was an amazing experience. He was such a well-written character. I really, really liked him. My favourite scenes, though, of him, I have to say, were those last scenes where he gets back to 12. When he's actually, to be honest with you, when he's on the train coming back from the games, and he's got Wyatt, Lulu, and Maisie's bodies in the coffin on the train down with him. That was, from then on, that was, in my opinion, Suzanne Collins' best writing for Haymitch in that book. I think the emotional turmoil, watching him shift into the Haymitch that we then know by Katniss's time, finding out all the things that he has sacrificed, not just obviously losing his mum and his brother and his girlfriend, but pushing away other friends, pushing away Katniss's dad, to find out that Haymitch was best friends with Katniss's dad. Incredible work. Incredible work. But yes, Haymitch was by far, obviously, he's a star of the book. He was the star of the show. Incredibly well written and incredible character. I would say I absolutely adored all of the side characters, more or less. Maisie was probably my favourite after Haymitch. Such an incredibly well written character. And I really like tributes who don't fall for the capital propaganda. So when they're not careers that think the light shines out of the capital's arse, but they're also not scared. I really, really liked that Maisie was just a bitch to everyone and everything, as she has every right to be. And I loved her. I loved her character growth. I thought she was great. I thought that all the connections between the series were done really well. Some of the people that I know, one of my really good friends, Ross, and one of my managers, they were a bit like, oh, too many people are having cameos, and like why are they just chucking in every single character from the series in? I disagreed personally. I really, really liked seeing all these characters because I know that everybody said that propaganda and censorship was the key theme to this book. I don't think it is. The key message of this book for me is that revolutions aren't built in a day, and that the revolution and the rebellion against the capital has been happening even before Haymitch comes along. And I think having all of these characters like Plutarch and BT and Mags and Wirus and all these characters come back puts the whole perspective of the whole series in a different light. When you think at the end of Catching Fire, when Haymitch and Plutarch are on the plane, I can't remember, the jet together, and you're thinking, how the fuck did they do this in like a year? But you now know that Haymitch and Plutarch have known each other at that point for 25 years. This revolution has been slowly forming and been trying to happen. Somebody posted something the other day that said, how many rebellions has Plutarch tried to ignite or oversee? How many games has he got people to try and destroy? So I really, really, really loved the message that revolutions don't happen in a day, and that Katniss was just the spark of all of this setup. Katniss would not be able to have done what she was able to do if it wasn't for the work of people like Beatty and Haymitch and Plutarch, etc. So I really, really liked that. So it made sense why we had so many old characters coming back for this book. And I really liked it, but I am also someone that loves a good cheeky cameo. Other things that I really enjoyed, as always, I do really enjoy the imagination that Suzanne Collins has when it comes to the arena. I thought the arena and the variety of that arena had was great. Loved the use of the animals, use of the flowers. I love this whole beautiful Eden-esque arena attacking people. I thought she was very smart with how she did it. I actually do think it's always good just being back in the world and seeing the slight differences from Lucy Gray's story to Katniss's story and the way that their world is viewed, how District 12 changes or doesn't change really, and how the District 12 has always kind of been the same. I loved all the references to Lucy Gray, but also happy that we never really get any extra answers about Lucy Gray, which I really, really like. We still don't know whether Snow killed... I mean, my personal opinion is that Lucy Gray ran away and that's it, but we don't know. So that I really, really liked. Loved having there being new songs. The songs are a little bit lost on me in written format, so I'm excited to see how that is portrayed in the movie, because I loved the songs in the ballad movie. Yeah, the songs were good. Throwback, seeing the old There Before, finding out that's a funeral song, and that when Lucy Gray sang it, she thought she was singing her own funeral song. That's really good. The Hanging Tree coming back, loved that. There were all these really good, like, interconnected things that I did really, really enjoy. My favourite, though, I have to say, my favourite part of the book was the ending. Just the emotional turmoil, that epilogue was what made me sob, as you know. I think the 2 points that I cried was the illegal reaping of Haymitch and the whole scene where Plutarch gets his family to reenact all these sad moments made me really upset. Then, I think it was when Ampert died. That was diabolical. Getting BT. But I just want to quickly add as well, I think people are thinking then that Katniss was reaped on purpose, because we know that Haymitch was reaped illegally, Ampert was reaped illegally, and we also know that Lucy Gray was reaped technically illegally, in the fact that people orchestrated their reapings. I'm still 100% the strongest believer that Katniss was not reaped on purpose. I think what makes the parallels between Haymitch and Katniss are so strong, the fact that you've got like Rue for Katniss, Ampert for Haymitch, you've got the fact that Haymitch didn't realise about the gumdrops, yet Katniss was able to realise about the berries for Peter. There's all these parallels. I just think what makes Katniss's story so poignant is the fact that this was a girl just rebelling with compassion, and she sacrificed herself for her sister. Everything that she did was for love and for compassion, not because Snow wanted her to be reaped. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's that, and I still don't subscribe to that. Moving on to the things that I think needed maybe a bit of work. My biggest bugbear, there's 2 big bugbears that I have. Maybe 3. 3 big bugbears that I have. 1, I don't think we spent enough time in the Hunger Games. For a Hunger Games that had 48 tributes, we did not spend enough time in the Hunger Games. I really enjoyed what we had. I thought it was great. I just think, considering that the Hunger Games book, I think maybe 2/3 of it, or at least half of the book, was the Hunger Games, and there wasn't much after the Hunger Games ended. And then that was 24 tributes. Then in Catching Fire, it was a lot shorter, but there was no victor, and the whole point is they were trying to end it quickly. In this one, it was a complete Hunger Games, even with Haymitch trying to end it quickly. But with twice the amount of tributes, I just felt like we should have had more time. I think this book needed an extra 50 pages to flesh out a couple of things, and the Hunger Games, I think, was one of them. 48 tributes, and I think it was done in I want to say 70, maybe 100 pages. It just wasn't it for me. I felt that there were some emotional moments that we should have stuck with more, even though I was upset by Amper and Lulu and Maisie's death. I feel like those moments we needed more time with them. I feel like Haymitch experiencing Maisie's death was sad, but then the plot point moved on straight away. And I know it's the nature of the Hunger Games, it's always fast moving, but I just wish, I don't think Maisie, in my opinion, and obviously these are all my opinions, I don't think Maisie's death, bearing in mind they just kind of secured we're brother and sister, Maisie's death, to me, we should have spent longer with Haymitch feeling devastated by it. Because I know we get the scene after the Hunger Games ends where he's 2 weeks, kind of in solitary confinement in his old apartment. I just wish in the games, those emotional moments of those characters' death, we had more time with Haymitch to not necessarily process it, but to watch him go through the motions of the emotions, if that makes sense. And I felt that's what the Hunger Games missed. For 48 tributes, I felt that it was not very rushed, but I did feel that it was a bit rushed. The other bugbear I have is I like Lenore Dove. This is not a Lenore Dove hate moment. I just wish we saw more of her. We are in Haymitch's brain. We're getting a lot of Haymitch's thoughts on Lenore Dove, but what we actually get on the page was not enough to convince me of a couple of things. I thought she was really nice. I thought she, was very much giving Lucy Gray. Kind of felt Lucy Gray insert at times, I must say. And I'm hoping that'll feel different once the movie comes out, but I just didn't see enough of her. And I wish that we just had more time. And this is why I think maybe the book should have been an extra 50 pages, because I feel like we needed to spend more time in. Because I remember, and you'll see, obviously, you would have watched it, we moved into the capital and the Reaping so fast. And I just feel that I needed more time with Haymitch and his family, with Lenore Dove, with all of this stuff. Not because I didn't believe in their relationship, I did. I just wanted more from her. I don't feel like we got enough utilization of her as a character, to the point where I kind of felt she was a tad bit underwritten. We should have had at least more time in the district, and we should have had more time in the Hunger Games, because I feel like those interpersonal connections were the strongest elements of this book, and we just didn't sit enough with these characters. So those were the three bugbears that I had with the book. Overall, really, really enjoyed it. That ending did have me crying. My final rating for this book is 4 stars. My goal and hope is that no more Hunger Games books get written. I know everybody likes them. Everybody wanted Finnick's story. They wanted Joanna's story. I don't want that. I like the Hunger Games being the stories of the District 12 victors, and that is it. The only thing I'll accept, which I know all of us have been saying, and it will probably never happen, but I want an encyclopedia history book of all the games. I want to know every single arena, every single winner. I just want to know that, because I am intrigued by the world. But I don't genuinely think we need another Hunger Games fiction book. I do not think we do. I think this is a perfect summary of the story, focusing on District 12, focusing on their victors. Anything else, I just don't think would work. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me through this. I hope you really liked it. Let me know what your thoughts were, things that you liked, maybe things that you didn't love as much. Please let me know. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And yes, more reading vlogs to come.